welcome to this episode of Conversation with a Chef. I'm Jo Rittey and I love sharing with you the conversations I get to have with talented and passionate chefs. It's the backstory, if you will, to the food they're putting up. This podcast is recorded on Wurundjeri country and I pay my respects to the First Nations custodians of the land both here and wherever you're listening from. This is the third instalment of my truffle series. In this episode, I talk to Jordan Clay from Pipi's Kiosk. Pipi's is one of my absolute favourite restaurants and it's always a pleasure to talk to Jordan. I'm fairly certain I've secured some kind of homage to Jo Rittey vanilla and truffle ice cream, but I might be wrong. Let me know when you've listened to the episode. Whatever they do down there though, it's always good, and whether that's poutine with truffle or ice cream with vanilla and truffle, I know I'll be in good hands.
How have you been?
Yeah, good, thank you. Pretty busy, which is great. Yeah. Let's talk about truffles.
Yeah, totally.
Because it's coming to truffle season.
Mm-hmm.
When does the season start for you?
Well, it's really just when they start to kind of show up in the market.
Yeah.
It's usually towards the end of June.
Yeah, that's right.
And to be honest, being a seafood restaurant, you don't get as many opportunities to showcase truffles as in other types of venues. And yeah, I unfortunately, I feel like the public's kind of draw or like impetus to really go out and enjoy truffles is kind of waning. I think it's like, it's an interesting one. I don't know whether it's due to like economy or what, but it's doesn't have the same kind of pop as it did pre-COVID. But that could also be because I'm working in a seafood restaurant as opposed to one where there's lots of steaks and pastas and stuff like that.
Yeah,
so
that's right.
it's just my perception of it.
Well, no, I think it's an interesting one because there's a financial side, obviously, to truffles. It was interesting talking to Dion from WA, and he was saying how his truffles are really comparable to Perigord truffles, and that they export now to Europe in their off season. And I find that interesting because for me truffles are so seasonal, so I quite like the idea that you have them when it's cold and you're having them with hearty dishes, or and they're giving that light perfume. But yes, I hadn't really thought about that because I was going to say to you, what's your ideal dish for a truffle?
For me, and it's very paradoxical, this dish for me, but it's like the national dish of Canada, which is poutine.
Oh.
Right? Cheese curds, chips, gravy. And in the past, we've done it here. I think we did it in our first year of opening, and it just didn't quite take off, which is absolutely shocking to me because I think as a foreigner coming to this country, something you pick up on quite quickly, especially working in kitchens, is the nation's obsession with hot chips. And especially when you speak to other expats who have moved here, it's a question that comes up. Like I had a friend move here from the UK and he'd been here for about a year and a half, and he said to me one day, like over lunch, he's like, "What's the deal with the chips? Like, can you explain that to me?" And I'm like, I have no idea. But chips, truffles, I thought it would be a hit.
Yeah.
And it just didn't really take off for some reason.
Yeah, but then I reckon last year there was that whole thing with caviar, and everyone was doing bumps of caviar, but then they were dipping their chips into it.
Okay.
So maybe the zeitgeist will be...
Yeah, maybe we'll give it another crack for sure.
Truffles, yeah.
But I mean, I'm pretty classic kind of guy. Besides the poutine, I love it in risotto, and I love it in an omelette, like an egg omelette. But the big thing for me with truffles is like it's like a lot of other luxury kind of foodstuffs like caviar. When you have it, you got to have it. Like you want to feel the truffle. You want it to be generous, and you don't want it to be too tight. And I think that's a common mistake that people, especially chefs, make when they're doling out the truffles. It's like, if people are going to have it, like, charge what you need to charge, but like, let them have it,
Because I wondered if you can have too much of a good thing, but you're saying no, go, if you're doing it, do it.
Not when it comes to truffles, but you have to like, keep in mind, this is not using truffle oil. That's also a little bit of a kind of industry kind of sneaky way to extend the truffles, is like, especially if you do a pasta or risotto, to just put a couple drops of truffle oil in there just to try and like elongate it. But that is like sacrilegious. Like, that is, in my opinion, like a big no-no. I do not like truffle oil. I hate it. It's too strong. It's too one-dimensional. And like, yeah, for me, that's something you can definitely have too much of, for sure.
Yeah. And is there a shelf life for truffles?
Yeah.
Should they be really fresh?
I mean, they should be as fresh as possible. Like, it's kind of one of those things that the longer they're out of the ground, the more they start to deteriorate. And it's just a sliding scale. Like, the fresher the better. But they also grade them as well. And, you know, the grades are indicative of the perfume and the quality and all the rest of it. So, yeah.
What are you looking for in a good truffle?
The smell.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's all about the smell for me.
Right.
And some people, like, grades are differentiated by shape a lot as well. And that's relevant if you want to slice them, for example. But for me, I like them really incorporated into things, and I like to grade them a lot with a microplane.
Oh, okay.
And I guess that enables you to get a lower grade and give more in a lot of ways. So, yeah.
And which wine would you drink with the truffle dish?
Pinots are classic, but it depends on the dish, I suppose. Probably, I think truffle is pretty versatile. I think in terms of wine pairings, as long as you don't have anything that's too aromatic, like a Gewürztraminer or certain kind of Germanic or Alsatian Pinot Blancs, Pinot Gris, like, I think you can get away with a lot of different pairings. And nothing that's too high on acid. But again, if you have a really rich dish and you have like a really drivey kind of Chardonnay, that could also work as well. So, yeah.
And what are your thoughts on truffles in sweet things?
I haven't had too many dishes with truffles as a sweet thing. I don't have any in my personal repertoire, but I don't see why it wouldn't work. I mean, if you think about what pairs nicely with truffle, it's usually like quite rich and fatty things. I've never personally tried a truffle ice cream, but, you know, I don't see why it wouldn't work. Or truffle and vanilla bean. I mean, vanilla is a really versatile kind of ingredient, and it can help lift up a lot of other things. Like, I do a sauce for fish with vanilla and saffron, and you would think that those are two really strong flavors that would dominate over each other, but for some reason it just works. And I would imagine it would work for truffles. Maybe I'll give it a crack this year. I know. Why not?
Well, I think it seems kind of how exciting to sit and look out at the sea, because I was thinking that to me truffles are so earthy and foresty and whatnot, and I was thinking, imagine if we're here just eating something with a truffle flavour but looking out at your amazing view. I love this idea.
Yeah, I'll give you like a credit for the inspiration of the vanilla and truffle ice cream.
I definitely want that. Yeah.
I'm sure it's been done. It's definitely been done before. I've seen it somewhere, but yeah. You've inspired me just in this conversation, so that's nice.
Thanks, Jordan. Thank you so much for listening to this episode of Conversation with a Chef with Jordan Clay from Pipi's Kiosk. If you liked what you heard, you can check out all the goodness on Instagram at Pipi's Kiosk. That's PIPISKIOSK. This was the third episode of my series on truffles. Next up is Jason Stout from Stokehouse. If you'd like to hear more stories from other chefs, I'm on Instagram at Conversation with a Chef. You can read the chat and become a subscriber at www.conversationwithachef.com. I'd love it if you told a friend about my chats. And of course, you can follow me on Apple and Spotify podcasts. Once again, thanks for listening and have a great day.